Hi all and welcome to a quick look at the Nikon 16 to 80mm f2.8 to f4 lens. This is a lens that you may overlook when you are looking for a lens, but I would like to say that it's absolutely fantastic. It's a kit lens, but not a kit lens. You've got a good focal range. I do use it on my Nikon D500. It came with it a few weeks ago when I got it. And I'm not going to change it for a 24-70 because it's 16 to 80. Yes, it goes from f2.8 to f4, but so what? We'll have a look at it now and we'll have a look. I think for the start of this test, I started at 16mm and I set the aperture to f4 so that it wouldn't change when I was zooming through the range. And then I think at the end of the tests, I then tried it at 2.8 and I kept zooming in and letting the apertures change, and we had a look at the sharpness test there. I'll just show you the before and after, just hang on. Click on the image. If you go before, after, and you'll see that there's not a great deal of distortion there. There is a bit of vignetting, but apart from that, it looks okay. So 16mm, we'll zoom in and we'll have a look at it. I'll just shift tab. The settings are up in the top left. So if we just have a look around, you'll see at 16mm, it's nice and sharp. It's not as sharp on the edges, but it's still sharp enough for a kit lens. We'll move across now to, so basically at 16mm, I think, did I do 2 at this one? All right, yeah. So we've gone from f4 to f5.6 to f8, and I think, is it just f11? Yeah, we didn't do f16 because of diffraction. So we've got f4, we've just seen it's nice and sharp. We'll now jump to 5.6 and we'll have another look around the image and you'll see that it looks nice and sharp. We'll go again to f8, same scenario again. It's absolutely really sharp. And f11 is also sharp. Also, let's have a look around. I think in a minute, now we're at 25mm. We've started at f4 again, so we're going to go f4, f5.6, f8 and f11. So we'll have a look in the middle and you can see, you make your own mind up, but we'll go over to the corners. I mean, it is maybe a touch softer here, but not really. It's still really sharp, 90% across the frame. We'll now go to 5.6. I'm just going to go back to here and click on this notch. Then I'm going to go to the 5.6 and we'll just see if the corners are any sharper at 5.6. Maybe a touch, they may be a touch sharper, but again, it looks fantastic at all apertures. We'll zoom in. This is 100%, and you'll see at f8 across the whole board at 25mm and f11 the same thing. Really sharp lens. Really is a stunning lens. We're now at 35mm, so we'll just take a look at that. We'll have a look in the middle. We'll let it load and look how sharp that is. We'll go to the edges. It's even sharp there too. f5.6. Zoom in. Take a look. Nice and sharp across the whole board. Looks fantastic. f8. I'd say the corners from 24 and 35mm are sharp all the way across the board, whereas at 16mm you could notice a slight drop off in the corners. But again, look how sharp this lens is. Really is a stunning lens. f11 now. I never bothered doing f16 because of diffraction, there's just no point. Now it should have been 50mm, but for some reason I got 52. So we're now at 50mm at f4. Let's have a look across the frame. Tack sharp, wide open. Well, it's actually not wide open, is it? Because it could be 2.8, but I think at 50mm it'll be about 3.2, but we'll have a look at that at the end. So f4, really sharp. f5.6, super duper tack sharp across the whole image. f8, maximum aperture, should be really sharp here. Right. I'm just getting shouted for my tea, so we'll have to speed this on a bit. So f8 and we'll go f11. and you can see it's super. We're now at 80mm f4. Again, I started at f4 so that the aperture wouldn't change from 2.8 to f4 as we're zooming. You can look how sharp that is. I mean, that's as sharp as my posh no 85mm Z lens, which is super sharp. I mean, it's just sharp as. f5.6. Yeah, I wouldn't get rid of this lens. It's phenomenal. It's just brilliant, absolutely. You don't need a better lens, even if you did weddings, no problem. I've got f11. Again, super duper tack sharp. Right, so now we've gone back to 16mm. Sorry that I couldn't keep the whole wall in, it's just the windows are there and all my cables are there that need tidying up, but we'll do that in the summer. But you can see now I've actually got it down to 2.8 and I'm at 16mm. Let's have a look in the middle at f2.8. It's not as sharp as f4, but it's sharp enough. You make up your mind. I can see up in these corners here that I'd say from about maybe here onwards, from about this part of the frame, maybe 60%, 70%, that you can see a bit of softness in the corners. But to be fair, it ain't that bad. Right, what we at? Oh, this is where I actually walked the camera forward so that we could have the full bricks in. So we'll have a better look at 2.8 at 16mm now. Shouldn't have really looked at that other image. So you can see now right up to this point it's tack sharp, but right in the corners you can see it's softened off at 16mm f2.8. Now go to 22mm. It's still at f2.8. It will change in a minute, but look at the centre of the frame. Centre 60%, really is sharp. Even this top corner now is starting to sharpen up. Look at these blobs on the wall. It was just at 16mm. We're now at 30mm and you can see the actual aperture has changed. This isn't me that's changed it, it's the lens changing itself as I zoom through the range. And 3.2, tack sharp, you make up your own mind. 40mm, f3.5, again the lens has changed the aperture. You can see it's slightly sharpened up now across the whole board, but it still was phenomenal at the other apertures. Oops. I'll just shift tab. And that's the last image. There's no other image because when we got to above 40mm it went to f4, which you've just seen anyway, so there were no point. So what do I say about this lens? What I would say, anybody looking for a 24-70, something like that wants to save money, it's phenomenal. You can just shoot it at f4, lock it on at f4 in manual or whatever, shoot away. If for any reason you need to do some group shots a bit wider angle and you want f2.8, it's still sharp at 2.8 across 70%, 80% of the frame. As soon as you get it to 3.2 and zoom in past 16mm, it really sharpens up just as good as anything else. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video here now. Please comment and subscribe and make sure you click that bell icon to get any future updates and any future videos I do. Thank you.